if I had known then what I know now.
How did I know and you didn't know? I'm just curious, because when I time and time again, when issues came up, you seem to be running cover for the president. You didn't seem interested. You really want the audience to believe you were fooled?
I love how she's saying everything we've been thinking.
With the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none. But you did. You did. And so while... You've been in Washington 30 years, Jake. You guys, you and CNN have White House connections, but there was no effort, none, to get to the bottom of this. And now for you guys to write this book like there was a cover-up.
Thank you, Megyn Kelly. We have Jake Tapper with his dumb look on his face trying to act innocent while he makes money off of this book after hiding all of Biden's decline. And we finally have somebody who has Jake Tapper on their show like Megyn Kelly who does not stop going after him about really what's going on behind the scenes and his lack of integrity that caused him to write this book. I think you guys will enjoy watching her go after him because she keeps going. It's Sean Daniel here. If you enjoyed the video and you like watching this, consider hitting that like button or subscribe button. Let's go.
Knowing what I know now, obviously, I feel tremendous humility about my coverage, that Lara Trump interview, for example, et cetera. She saw something that I did not see at the time, 100%.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I own that. I did ask Joe Biden to be transparent about his health records in an interview in 2020. I did ask him about the fact that voters
but then he wasn't.
Thought that he...
Look at her face. She's ready for war. Get ready.
He was not transparent at all. No.
He promised you that he would be transparent about his health records, and then he wasn't. And when you sat with him again,
at all.
including 1 month after the Jackie Walorski thing, you didn't ask him about it. You didn't follow up on the fact that he was falling up the stairs, that he was losing his train of thought regularly, that he was slurring, that he was incomprehensible, that he was getting lost on the White House lawn. You sat right across from him and you asked none of that, notwithstanding the fact that he had promised you he would be fully transparent about his health issues.
That's true, but I did ask him about his age and the fact that the American people had concluded that even though he said whenever anybody brought up the subject of his age, watch me. And I said, yes, they're watching you and they are concerned that you were too old for this job.
You know as well as I do that there's a way of, you can say, hey, there's this poll on your age, or you could say, you just forgot that Jackie Walorski was dead. You asked where she was moments after watching a videotape tribute to her. You lowered the flags at the White House after she died. This happened 13 days before you sat with him. There is a way of pressing a man like that on the actual infirmities to bring it home to him and to the audience, and you didn't do it.
Look at his face. Look at his face.
That's correct. I didn't. And like I said, I feel humility about my coverage. I mean, it's not like I was asking him his favorite movie or his favorite color. We were talking about Putin. We were talking about other issues of national importance. But yeah, I mean, of course, I've said, I look back at my coverage with humility. And I wish I did cover the issues of age and acuity, but I wish I had covered them much more. And I wish, I mean, of course, it's May 2025. Do I wish that in that 10, 15-minute interview I had with Biden in October 2022, that this had been the only subject? Because I had then
well, it wasn't
what I know
just
now.
That, though, Jake. It wasn't just that. I mean, you sat with him a couple of times in the course of his presidency, and these issues were not pressed. Well, there was at least that time, and then there was the time at the the And but separate and apart from that, you covered the Biden's presidency. No. Let me just finish my point. You covered the Biden presidency.
With him during his I had one
okay, right, and it was 13 days after the Jackie Walorski thing. But you covered the Biden presidency aggressively throughout the 4 years, and you didn't cover mental acuity hardly at all.
Exactly.
I mean, time and time again, when issues came up, you seemed to be running cover for the president. You didn't seem interested. Well, I mean, we'll start with the Lara Trump issue that you referred. Here it is. This happened in 2020.
She's going after him, and watch how he tries to continually deflect. He's been coached. He's been practiced. Before you watch that, look at how he goes after Lara Trump.
Joe Biden, as we all know, has worked to overcome a stutter. How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
you have
to
no
watch somebody on stage search
this
for
is so
questions.
amazing.
You're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you
stuttering.
were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
And it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Lara
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure it was from a place of concern. We all believe that. Lara Trump, thank you so much.
Do you think he's going to have any remorse right now? Put it in the comments. Let me know.
Do you want to apologize to Lara Trump now?
I've already apologized to her. I called her months ago.
Oh, okay.
And what did she say?
So bad, huh?
I mean, I don't want to disclose the contents of a private conversation, but I thought the conversation went well. And she has said this publicly, so I feel fine sharing it. She said that she would never mock anybody's stutter. But I mean, after we did the research for this book, and I realized how bad his acuity issues were, I called Lara Trump and I said, you were right.
She was totally right. That's the thing, because when I watched that clip, and I'm giving voice to what a lot of people watching the show are feeling, Jake, I feel angry because she was right. And not only did you not allow her to make her comments, but you seemed to try to humiliate her. You had a hostility toward the position, but she was totally right. And then you lectured her on how she was in no position to diagnose cognitive decline, which you guys do at length, including on page 4 of your book. You describe at length his cognitive decline, which is all she tried to do with you. But you had such a visceral reaction to her. And my feeling is that's because you didn't want to hear it.
No, I'm happy to talk about this. I didn't come here thinking that you weren't going to ask me about this. So I'm happy to talk to you about it.
You know why he's happy to talk to her about it? Because it's going to make him money. It's the only reason. It's going to sell more books, make him money, make him more famous. That's the only reason he's willing to talk about it.
No, I know.
The first time I saw the coverage of Lara Trump's comments, which were interpreted as her mocking Joe Biden's stutter, was in January 2020. I read it in conservative media. I read it in the Daily Mail. And that's where I saw that her comments were being interpreted that way. After those comments were publicized, it got a lot of coverage. And Sully Sullenberger wrote an op-ed in the New York Times criticizing her about this. So that's the context for that, that I was following up on a story that had been out there months before. This is also in the context of October 2020, a very intense time. People on the Biden side are saying crazy things about Trump. People on the Trump side are saying crazy things about Biden, including Don Jr. suggesting that Joe Biden is a pedophile. So that is the larger context. But as I said, her comments have aged well. My comments have aged poorly. I own that. But I think what is significant is, in addition to me owning that, the reporting that Alex and I have done, which is beyond just, and when I say just, I don't mean to diminish it, but the comments of Joe Biden making gaffes, saying things stupid, tripping, are all important and all deserved to be aired and all deserve scrutiny.
Now
but as you know, Megyn, because even though you look 30 years younger than me, we're roughly the same age, Joe Biden has been saying stupid things for dececades. Okay?
I get what you're saying, but this minimizes it too, because it was more than saying stupid things. But I'm telling you, like over here in my ecosphere, we were covering all of these. It wasn't just falling down; it was getting lost. It was some of the stuff you report in your book. We knew, and we were reporting on, like the multi-jump cuts in the videos of him, where it was obvious he couldn't get through a 1-minute take. So they had to use those. It was clear to us that he was using teleprompter, and there was some reporting on that at the time, all of which the White House was denying. Now, with the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none, but you did. You did. And so while you've been in Washington 30 years, Jake, you guys, you and CNN have White House connections, but there was no effort None to get to the bottom of this. And now for
That's
you guys to
not
write this
accurate.
book like there was a cover-up, it's like there was a cover-up and there was an attempted cover-up. It could only ever work if you allowed it, if the press allowed it. Some of us tried not to, and some of us were complicit.
Before we hear from Jake, this is a fantastic point. Anybody who's been in D.C. for a long time like him, anybody who works for CNN, you're telling me those people do not have connections in the White House to be able to find out what goes on. You think people don't speak in D.C.? I have worked for only a few politicians as a video guy years ago, and when I would go to D.C., I would hear things about what's going on behind the scenes just by going to the Trump Hotel bar to hear some things and hang out with people. So being in D.C. for 30 years, you're telling me he doesn't hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things about how Joe Biden really is in the White House? Come on. That's a great point by Megyn Kelly.
First of all, the Biden White House did not like me. Okay, I do not have great connections with the Biden White House.
Well, clearly you have a lot of sources. You say you talked to over 200 sources for this book.
This
So
is
you
after
have
the
some
election.
you could have called and worked.
No, that's the point.
Sorry, disruption. I dropped my damn glass here.
No, that's the point, is that they were not being honest. That's
Well,
the
how
point.
did the Wall
that
Street Journal get it in June of 2024? And Jake Tapper and CNN couldn't find sources for this story then before he dropped out?
Annie Linsky and Siobhan Hughes did an amazing job in their reporting. And they should be heralded, and I heralded them. I had them on my show right after the debate to talk about their great reporting. But Annie
After
Linsky,
the debate. But you did not put them on when they published that story, which was before the debate.
Boom!
correct. I don't know what the booking situation was, but it wasn't because I didn't want them.
Sure, Jakey Jake. It was only after the debate that I had on these people who made these reports about Biden's decline. Megyn is killing it right now, and I hope this showcases to you guys, by her great questions, the continual lies Jake will make, and also the continual chances he had over and over and over to share about Biden's decline, and the timed way in which he started to share about his decline, only when it was convenient for him and only when his producers were okay with it.
Sure, I said that day, let's book. I'm sure I said that day, let's book that. Did they?
Yeah, you put on a Democrat, and you allowed the Democrat to rip on the report as a Rupert Murdoch sponsored hit piece.
No.
It's just
Megyn,
that's
Megyn,
what happened.
if we're going to do this, let's just stick to the facts here, okay? When there is a damaging
Jake,
report,
that's what I've been doing all along.
I'm talking about what you just said.
Didn't miss the biggest story of the century when it comes to presidential politics, and one of us did.
Okay, so there is a
He's like, how can I reason this through? How can I come back from this?
difference, okay, between the clips of Joe Biden falling on a stage at the Air Force Academy graduation. There is a difference between the clip of Joe Biden embarrassingly forgetting that a Republican member of Congress who he's talking about has died. Those are embarrassing, those are important, but there is a difference between that and the investigative journalism that Alex and I were able to do and only able to do after the election. And I know you know this because you've been talking about the scoops in the book, and you've been talking about...
I don't diminish the importance of the book. I don't. I have supported the importance of the book, and we'll talk about the contents of the book at length. But there is no way we can have that conversation with an audience that is as skeptical of your ability to tell the story as mine is without addressing your role in this, right? Like Alex is a different story, but you've watched the coverage since it came out that you wrote this book. There's a legion of articles about how comparing you in some instances to like OJ, instead of if I did it, this is if I hid it. That like you are not the right messenger to bring the story about the cover up because you helped, you allowed it, and you likely did that out of a desire to help Joe Biden and hurt Donald Trump. You didn't want to do anything that might improve Trump's chances.
You know, before we hear from Jake again, do you realize he would never go on Megyn Kelly's show? Never. He's not going to do it. She has good questions. She's going to make good points. He's sticking to his CNN bubble. The only reason he's willing to go through this and have to come up with good answers and be shown as a lying hypocrite is because Megyn's audience is like us. We're conservative, and we'll probably buy this book, be interested in hearing this book. Now, are we frustrated that the money might go to Jake Tapper? Yes, maybe some of us will PDF download it, who knows. But he's only willing to do all of this, remember, so he can get money, so he can be more famous, so he can consider he's doing what's best for him. He's not doing anything for the benefit of the country. If it was, he would go on Megyn Kelly's show way more often. But he's only willing to take this tongue lashing so he can sell more books, get more famous.
I do not think that that is accurate. I do not think that that is true at all. The idea that Siobhan and Annie do their piece and we have on the co-chair of the Biden campaign is not me trying to cover for the Biden campaign. That is me putting the questions of the reporting that were made to him and saying things like, so you really haven't seen any moment, or you would acknowledge that, wouldn't you acknowledge that he's lost a step, he's 81, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said before, if I had known then what I know now, would I have been more aggressive? Yes, of course.
Oh, sure.
How did I know and you didn't know? I'm just curious, because when I saw that Wall Street Journal report in June of 24, I scoffed at it. Like, okay, it's a attempt, but it's lame. Everybody on the right-wing ecosystem and the independent media ecosystem knew it was a lame attempt that only scratched the surface. We had all been discussing his serious cognitive problems for years by that point. Jake, in June of 2022, this show did a full 2-hour program on his cognitive decline.
I heard it.
It was. I know we want to pretend. I'm mentioning the Wall Street Journal as a courtesy, but those of us on this side of the aisle had been reporting in depth on his multiple problems and the obvious lies we were being told for years. For years. You really want the audience to believe you were fooled?
I love how she's saying everything we've been thinking.
What do you mean I was fooled? I'm not saying I was fooled. I'm saying we all saw these moments before the camera, and they were obviously concerning, and he was obviously aging, and that was significant. But
so
the
what
people
did you do
at the
to
White
get
House,
to the bottom of it?
I'm trying to answer the question. But so the people at the White House, when I would call, when others would call, when Alex would call, would lie. He's fine. He's fine. You'd call Democrats and say, what are you seeing behind the scenes here? Because this is concerning. He's fine. He's fine. This is just a moment. He's 79. He's 80. He has moments like that, but he's fine. His decision-making's fine. They're still saying that.
Yes, Jake. They're still saying that. They've always been saying that. So maybe he was lied to by a lot of people. We believe that. But we also know people talk. We also know if Project Veritas and, not Project Veritas, O'Keefe Media Group, James O'Keefe can get clips with Biden officials talking crap on a random date about what Joe Biden's really like behind the scenes. I think Jake Tapper could figure that out through some back channels, some people. Do you guys think the White House was really covering up and making sure everybody shut up? I do. But I also am certain that people talk, just based on my time in D.C. Let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed this battle where Megyn Kelly, she went in. She said what we all have been wanting to say. I enjoyed it. Hope you did as well. It's itsSeanDaniel here. Consider liking or subscribing if you want to see more. And just to help me out with a little like, I'll see you in the next one.